Hey everybody, JJ here. Welcome back for another episode of Flipside with JJ. Today I'm thrilled and pleased and honored to have with me two of my really good friends, Jim and Phil Oden from Oklahoma. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, JJ.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you guys here. If you guys don't know Phil, if you go to any of the mastery events that we attend and some of our educational format, these guys are known as the Twin Towers because they're both well over 6 foot and they dwarf me. Anyhow, guys, where are you guys from?
We're from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
And the name of your company?
We are We Care Properties.
Fantastic. Now, how long have you guys been rocking and rolling, doing your thing? How long have you been in mastery? Tell us your story. How did you get started? Which one of you guys discovered it?
We started going to mastery because many years ago, I used to flip houses on my own as a technician, as some people do. And that was from 2001 to 2008. I ended up moving into one of my own houses that I flipped because I couldn't get a buyer to qualify for it. So I always loved real estate though. So an opportunity came across where I got a flyer in the mail saying, come to this event and we'll show you how to do it by systems. So I dragged him along, Phil along, because my eyesight has failed, so I'm not allowed to drive anymore, so I needed a driver. So it was a free ticket, so I brought him along, and together we looked at it and evaluated it and made a decision to go ahead and join. And we haven't looked back since.
Fantastic. I met you guys at one of the educational programs.
Oh, we've been to several.
And I've seen you at several.
And we've been Crush It Crew at several. We were
Yes.
just at Crush It Crew on Ignite last year.
That's fantastic. That's
That was
fantastic. Now, for those that don't know, what's Crush It Crew and what's Ignite?
Ignite's annual event that we run every December, Fortune Builders puts on, where you have a ton of different speakers, a lot of different topics, and we actually ran Crush It Crew there, which Crush It Crew is basically where you volunteer, you help out, you help put out all the books, you help them with everywhere they need to basically get the events going, because it's very busy to get those events going for all the boot camps.
I know the Crush It Crew people are a lot of help. And I guess you get to rub elbows with some of the speakers there a little bit, huh?
Yeah, that's one of the nice things. We get to eat lunch normally with the speakers and get to talk with them, Dan, Paul, and JD.
So I guess you've been to these things all over the country, I imagine, huh?
Yes, we've been to, I think we've been to 10 or 12 boot camps already.
Great. Now, let me ask you, you've met a lot of people through these travels and the educational program, I imagine. I guess you built your network up to some extent. You've networked a bit and met people from around the country.
We didn't start off networking good, but we didn't keep up with them very well. And so now we're learning to implement more and starting to keep up with people more and get more involved. Because it's a lot as a family to go. Everybody has different inputs and a lot of different knowledges, and you learn from other people's mistakes, and we didn't learn from other people's mistakes fast enough on our own.
Yeah. No, let me ask you about that now. You guys are a father-son team, you're a family team. As you guys started, how did you go about taking tasks, and who did what, and how did you figure out who was going to handle something? How did that come about?
That's a great question, because what we found is being a family business, you have to be fluid. And each of us takes different roles. We adapt, basically. We change as things go along, like as we changed our system that we're trying to use now. So originally we started with flips, now we're actually in the process of switching it over to wholesale and buy and holds. So we change our tasks oftentimes between each other. Instead of just, originally we had our own tasks that we separated each other at, but now we learned that we need to work together in a lot of areas. That way we don't butt heads on each other or kind of compete with each other, but we're working together and building a team together.
Great, yeah. Obviously, communication is really important. Are you guys using any kind of social media for your business, Facebook or Instagram or anything like that to any extent?
I use Facebook for the most part. We're looking at trying to implement Instagram along with it.
So you said you started with flipping and then are now getting into other things, but tell me about some of your first couple of experiences with rehabbing a property. Did they always go well? Did everything go perfectly as planned? Or were there some bumps along the way?
Yeah, we've had some bumps along the way. Unfortunately, I did not pay attention to my son on the first flip. He should have managed it more than me because I was still in the technician part where I was overseeing it, but I wasn't catching things as I was supposed to catch it. The contractor was doing things that they should not have done, and I let go along further than it should have. We should have fired him much faster. And if I listened to him, we would have fired him faster and got somebody else in there, and we went and lost money like we did, ended up losing.
Now, within our educational program, we're provided different types of systems, and one of those systems is called the 6 critical documents, and those are some papers that we're supposed to be using as we engage with contractors. When that first experience, were you using those, or did you not use all of them, or?
We did use the 6
did.
critical
We
documents.
did use 6 critical documents.
The problem is they have it, her company was an LLC. We used the contractor, but they didn't follow the system. They didn't follow the scope of work. They were covering up issues. And by the time we caught it, we've already paid them because we thought the work was complete, because we did follow and check and make sure on our payment schedule they completed that scope of work of what we needed for that time. So we paid them according to what we saw completed, but we didn't notice that they were covering up things. They were covering up problems and we did not catch it early enough. So we started paying like the payment schedule, but we weren't catching the issues.
For instance, they had a bathroom on the upper level, and the sewer line from the toilet was broken underneath, and we didn't know it at the time, but they covered up the wall. They replaced the wall downstairs and did not replace the plumbing for that toilet. Anytime someone flushed the toilet, we would get sewer water, and we wouldn't know what it was coming from. And so we ended up having to redo things over again.
Crazy. So then from that first experience, I guess one of the things you really took away from that is constant follow-up. Not just periodic, but to be there frequently.
Yeah, what we recommend more now is be at the property every day when you're running a rehab in the beginning. Get to know that contractor. Even though you do your due diligence to screen that contractor, make sure you're there every day in the beginning to make sure they're doing everything properly and not covering things up and not telling you about it.
So those are some of the problems that occurred on the first one. What about your second project? Tell us about that.
The second project we got from another wholesaler. We actually got that one. So networking is very key, even in your local area. So we found one by a wholesaler. We bought it, and we brought that contractor on that second property at first. So it's one of the things that cued us to cancel her on the first properties, because she took out a load-bearing wall on our second property.
It wasn't
and did not
supporting
support
it
it
properly, and it ended up dropping almost 2 inches.
Oh my gosh.
And before we caught it, and so luckily someone I knew was with me, helping me out, noticed it, and he says, this ain't right. And so we got a good person come in there and redo it. End up doing all subs out of that one after that, instead of using a general. Make sure you do 6 critical documents in every single person. It went much smoother after that. It's just that we held it for longer than we should have.
Now, I know sometimes people talk about these documents, and some of you will be aware of them and some of you won't. And if you're not, it's just a system of check and balance. For those that are aware of them, with this check and balance system, I hear, because I'm a new investor, that sometimes some contractors don't want to use them. But in your experience, you found that there really wasn't much problem with them?
I had one take it and read it, and he found 1 or 2 lines that he didn't like in the document, but it didn't apply for us anyway. So I just crossed that line because it wasn't applicable. So other than that, he signed it, no problems. And other people, they do a quick read over it, and they don't have any issues signing them.
That's good to know.
Because they know they're going to get cleared afterwards, and they're going to get paid. That's all they want.
Yeah, they're going to get paid.
Yeah, and we had an electrician that actually thanked us for using the documents.
Yeah.
He's like, thanks for using the contract. That's more reliable. You're more trustworthy when you're actually doing it correctly.
So it wasn't as scary as what you thought it might be.
So do you guys have any projects currently underway? Are you looking? Are you active in something right now? Or are you just looking for your next project?
I myself am working on rehabbing one of my rental properties because it has not been cash flowing for me for the last 2 years. But if I rehab it, I can sell it and buy other properties that will cash flow. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Now I see you guys are wearing these really cool shirts here. So I want to get into marketing. Now obviously you've got the shirts. What else are you guys doing for marketing, and how is marketing impacting your business?
These shirts were pretty cool. They actually got them pretty cheap. So if you ever want to get embroidered shirts, go to your local retailer. You look for somebody who does embroidery. And it wasn't how much was it? It was relatively inexpensive. It was like $10. Yeah, like $10 a shirt to have them embroidered. So, or less than that, if I remember right. It's been really good advertisement because people always ask, what is We Care Properties? So I even wear it in the church and advertise at church. So it's been really nice. Free marketing almost.
Advertise everywhere. There you
Yes.
go. Fantastic. Fantastic. So tell me, you guys have been in now for how long into the real estate business with your new company? How long have you been doing this?
We've been doing it 2.5 years.
Okay, about a year longer than myself. I'm 18 months in myself. What are some tips or suggestions you have for the new investor? What, from your experiences and some of the hurdles and bumps and the things that have really worked for you, what are some of the suggestions? Jim, you have anything for the new investor that you might want to suggest to avoid or to focus on?
Well, one of our properties, we ended up hoteling, and that's because we put a sign in the yard, and we already bought it and was going to plan on rehabbing it, but we bought it near the time we were still having the other contractor that we found it was bad. The next door neighbor came to us when we were over at the property, reevaluating it, and they says, "Would you be willing to sell this?" And so we ended up selling the property at that time to them. So we made a little bit of profit out of that. And so advertise. Make sure you put a sign in the yard.
Phil, do you have any suggestions or something to avoid or something to focus on? Tips or suggestions?
My biggest suggestion to anyone that's new is get networking. Go to those RIAs, go to meetups. Meetup's a great app. If you've not used it, go and download that and look for your local meetups for real estate, entrepreneurs. I met a lot of good wholesalers. I met money there. You got lenders that go to those things. And then always watch your contractors when you're at those properties. Make sure you go to those properties, make sure you screen them. Do your due diligence on those contractors before signing those 6 critical documents.
Well, that's fantastic. Anything else you want to add about that?
I would make sure you venture not just to your local RIA company. There's a lot of good ones in our area, and we've been to them, and we even place membership with them too.
So things like Chamber of Commerce, things of that nature.
On the Meetup app.
Meetup app. Okay,
Yeah.
the Meetup app on one cell phone, one smartphone.
Yes.
So you've been doing a lot of local networking, and that's obviously helped you.
Yes.
Do you have any activity at all in national networking or with the people maybe you've met around the country? Does that have played any impact for you guys?
Yes, national networking is very key. We go to a lot of different boot camps, so we get to meet a lot of different people. Then we have the SoCal Mastery page, which is where you can talk about and learn from other people. That way you learn from different mistakes so you don't repeat them. That way you can also learn from the people that are succeeding, find out what they're doing, how you can implement it into your market and grow your own business.
So let me ask you guys have been doing this for a couple of years now, 2.5 years, and I imagine you don't plan on stopping.
No.
Great. So tell me, what's the future hold for you guys? What's your game plan? Where are you going next? What do you have in store?
Yes, like I said earlier, we're moving over to wholesale and buy and holds. Basically what a buy and hold is, where we'll actually buy the property, either do a slight rehab on it or keep it as is, and we'll get a renter into it and rent the property out. If you've not heard of the BRRRR method, one of the things we're going to try to get into, which is buy, rehab, refinance, and repeat. So basically what we'll do is we'll buy it, we'll do that rehab, and then we'll refinance it out to get our money out of that property and then just hold it and keep a renter in it and have it cash flowing. One thing that we are in Oklahoma City, so it's actually a growth market. Basically what that means is the economy's doing really good for buy and holds, and it's planning on change and growing, so the economy's actually getting better. So Oklahoma City is a really good market to buy, and your rent's going to go up, your cash flow, and the market's doing good in that area. And then we're also looking at buy and holding into Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is about an hour and a half away from us because it's a very stable market. Memphis Investment is actually investing in Oklahoma City and Tulsa for their buy and holds if you're doing the turnkeys through them.
So not only looking in your area of Oklahoma City, but also Tulsa, which is in your same state.
Yes.
That's great. So I think we're rolling up into time in here, but I wanted to thank you guys for being on the show. I hope we can maybe have you guys back again sometime. I know you live right around the corner in Oklahoma. We're here in Los Angeles.
Right around the corner, yes.
But we're fortunate to have you guys in town and have a little gap in your availability to come stop by. So really appreciate that. On behalf of the team at Beechwood Home Solutions, we'd like to thank you for watching this episode of Flipside Up with JJ. Remember, your network is your net worth. It's not who you know, but who knows you. So when it comes to building your business, the time is now. Stay tuned for more episodes of Flipside Up with JJ.